14 years old. Parents are super religious. They send me to a Bible camp for a week. Honestly pretty based. It's at a really nice cabin in the woods with other cabins located nearby. One had a really cool rec room. Lots of Christian cuties too, including one curly-haired chick who was crushing on me pretty hard. Feels good, man. Anyway. I like to get up really early and walk through the woods. Occasionally run into horny teens having sex kek. Last morning there. Get up extra early and head to a nearby lake. They had fishing rods on site that they let us borrow. Fishing.gif. 30 minutes later it starts getting light out. I spot movement across the lake. Something moving through the trees really fucking fast. Can't make out the shape at first, but it's gotta be tall. Treetops are shaking as it moves. It's coming around the lake towards me. Nope. Reel in my line and fuck off back to the cabin. Hear the trees rustling loudly the whole time. Then the rustling stops. Glance back. The thing is out on the open now and I get a good look at it in the morning sun. All black, featureless, very slim and tall. Over 9 feet easy. It's standing on the trail behind me, not pursuing. It starts to shake really fast, then I hear a loud whistling, almost like when a bomb drops in a cartoon. Nearly trip and eat my shit because I'm staring back at this thing. Run the rest of the way back, one of the camp staff members sees me. What's wrong? I tell him what I saw, he just nods. I believe you, Anon. But I don't think you should tell anyone about it. I doubt anyone else would believe you. It's your last day here. Just enjoy it. I take his advice and keep my mouth shut. Make out with curly hair at a huge bonfire later that night. Hear the same whistling as before coming from the trees. Don't care, my boner's in charge. Didn't ever see it again.
Okay, /x/, I've been pretty ping this for a while, it's a long one. I don't know if we were just high and were fighting bears. Tell me if this sounds like any supernatural shit you know. Y'all stories are boring as fuck too. Be me. Be hella good hunter, good with a rifle, decent with a bow. Prefer Mosin, but will go with anything. Dead of winter. Hear about this shack in the woods where I can chill before a hunt. Not going to give location because you guys spook me almost as much as the shit I saw. Decide yeah, bring beer, hunting buddies. Heli.jpg. Be chilling in cabin. 3 hunting buddies. 1 brought girlfriend. Folds of fat. I swear, we could fucking hunt her and have enough blubber to fuel a 747. God damn she fat though. Real bitch, too. Always complaining about the cold. Shouldn't have brought her. Be smoking weed outside of cabin with 1 hunting buddy, we will call him Jim. Jim is a cool motherfucker. This guy can get his hands on any fucking ammunition he wants. This guy brought 45s. We have a range of cans set up so we can practice. Jim can fucking shoot the pull rings off them. Jim is fucking amazing. We chilling, and up comes Meat Sack. Other 2 guys are off hunting north of the cabin. Bitches jowl slap together as she moans some complaint about how cold it is. If we took 1/10 of the grease she excretes and made a fire with it, we could burn the entire forest down. She waddles inside. It isn't even funny how fucking fat she is. Jim is fucking with a knife he bought, packing snowballs and cutting little gills into them, making tiny fat snowfish. I'm hungry as fuck, so I go to make some beans. I open the cupboard. Fucking empty. The fat bitch cleared us out. We haven't shot any meat yet, so that isn't an option. We need to go to town to get more food. Or we eat flaps over here. I yell to Jim that we need more food. Jim and I agree that we should stay and that boyfriend and meat mistress should get food. Don't worry, the story gets spooky soon, just let me have some fun. Other buddy is cool, we will call him Dave. Dave and boyfriend come across the crest of the hill and come down towards us. We explain the food situation, Dave fucking cooks and they decide Dave should stay with us at the cabin. Yo, also Anon, there's like 3 bears over the hill, we didn't get a good look at them, but I would hold off on hunting anything other than cans. We have 45mm ammo, motherfucker. Bears can suck my dick. Pork Princess and her wheelbarrow operator head down the mountain to go get food. This is when we get fucked. We can't hunt, so we have to resort to emergency rations. We have emergency rations in a crate behind the cabin, but we need to ration them. We head around the cabin and open the crate. Fucking nothing. The bitch ate our emergency rations. Fuck dude. This is where shit goes down, the last bit was just fucking around. Shit gets worse. Blizzard hits hard, and the road up the mountain closes before beef bitch and her lackey get back. Shit piss and fuck. Now we really need to hunt. Dave protests, talking about bears and shit. It's fucking winter, Dave, bears hibernate in winter. Dave swears he saw bears. Jim and I leave him and head to the top of the hill. Everything is crisp and white. Fuckeyes.jpg. I'm packing a Mosin M9130 PU, Jim is testing out some Chinese marksman. We sit and wait watching the tree lean for movement. Oh fuckeyes.mp3. See something along western side. Hedge line. Looks large. Meet Jiv. Get Jim to take first shot, his scope is better. Extremely loud. Go deaf. Recoil was insane. Jim is in shock. Look through scope, no movement. Wait, what's that? See hair and pink skin. Oh shit. Bad. We shot a person. Fuck me. Keep looking. Holy fucking shit. This massive fucking jumble of flesh comes rocketing out of the bush, heading east. I can barely keep track of it. It looks like a weird pink blur. The thing pivots and is now rocketing towards us. I load my Mosin as fast as I can, my hands are really fucking cold. This is how I die.exe. Jim readies rifle. Thing trips and topples, losing momentum. The thing quivers and shakes like jello. Now that it's still, we can see that it's this giant, flesh-colored mess of human bits. Like it has limbs for hair. But it also has hair. At this point, the thing is still pretty far away. Also, pretty sure that this is a fetish for someone. It starts to get up. Nope, 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 so much nope.dll. We bolt the fuck back to the cabin with this thing in the distance. The thing starts howling, really fucking loud. We can still hear it when we get to the cabin. What the fuck is going on Anon? Dave, you ignorant fool. We barricade the door and fast for 2 days before boyfriend and his ham hooker come back. Jim and I haven't told anyone what we saw. Haven't even talked to each other. We also got really fucking mad at boyfriend and his fucking beef baby. So, sound like anything you guys have heard, or were we just stoned out of our minds and can't remember? My theory is that it is a fleshgate/skinwalker that tried to imitate the land whale, but didn't finish the transformation because the land whale's too fat to scan properly, and that she left. It probably thinks if it can nab Queen Lard ass it can survive the next 5 winters without hunting any other critters.
Me, 17 Innawoods with friends up in the Big Bear Mountains of California. Went during winter break with a bunch of my senior friends, was the last year I'd really see them, so this was kind of a small going away party thing. Mostly 6 people drinking in a cabin that one of my friend's dad was letting us use. I don't drink though, so this is how I know I was in my right mind despite what happened that night. Everyone is shooting to shit, watching movies, eating, drinking, and pissing out in the snow. It's a pretty fun time, and I'm glad I'm there. Around midnight the first night one of my friends goes AWOL. At first we think he's just fucked off to pee, but he ends up being gone for 25 minutes. We get worried, wonder if he passed out somewhere. Hopefully not in the snow. Fuck Anon, have you seen him? We all spread out around the back porch with flashlights, trying to find him. After another 10 minutes we give up, think about calling the cops. While inside we hear thumps on the roof. Then taps on windows followed by more thumping. Shitnik Jarrett's say squatch.avi. Grab my Colt 1851 Navy from bag, was a gun enthusiast then, and I frequented /K/2. No way was I not bringing a gun for Innawoods. WTF Anon, why do you have a gun? Comes the typical Californian response. They all shut the fuck up when the thumping gets more violent. I pull the hammer back, and push the sliding door to the side. I'm freaking the fuck out. As soon as I walked out my faggot friend pounces on me from the roof. He was fucking with us the entire time. Just a prank bro.jpg. I almost fucking shot you. He's laughing so goddamn hard, still drunk. All my other friends were sobered up from being scared shitless for an hour. They're as pissed as I am. We settled down that night. Still rattled. But because of what he did we let our guard down for the rest of the trip, and that was a mistake. It would become worse. Sorry it's taking me a while, if anyone is actually reading this. A few hours pass, it's closer to 3 AM now. Half of us are passed out, it's just me, the dick, and another guy we'll call Kyle from here on out. Kyle and I are less pissed than we were a few hours ago, but Dick is still laughing his ass off. LOL faggots, pissed yourself LOL. Remind him I could have shot him, he just doesn't care, and we get to arguing a little. The fucker is really drunk by this point. He keeps saying, well, if you almost shot me, why don't you do it now? And keeps calling me a pussy. Kyle has to break us up. At this point Dick goes to sleep. I'm just left with Kyle. He and I shoot to shit in the other room for an hour or so. It's around 4 AM now. While I was talking, Kyle just drops his tone, and gets really wide-eyed. Fuck, Kyle. What is it? Kyle says he heard another noise from outside. We both look out the small window. It was one of those windows that had that blurry kind of glass, like you'd find in a bathroom. And it was only 1x too big. We couldn't really see anything but vague shapes in the dark. We hear rustling from a few feet away. At this point we're guessing it's an animal. All of a sudden, it rushes the window and bashes into it. All we made out was a black blur. Freak out, and start swearing out Dick's name. We head into the living room so we can go outside and scream at the fucker. But when we get there, he's just sleeping. I wake him up and we both say he's a faggot and that he needs to stop fucking around. Has no clue what we're saying. The only reason we believe him is because it would have taken him forever to put on snow boots, a jacket, pants, run outside, scare us, and be back in his underwear and sleeping bag in less than 10 seconds. Kyle and I tell ourselves it was probably just an animal, but we're uneasy. The rest of the night we feel watched. Still hearing scrambling noises at a distance. Should I go on? Figured so. Aussie gun laws sound really shit. It does make me glad I'm American. But that also has drawbacks. Thanks for enjoying my story. Here's another part. Next morning is normal, business as usual. Only two of us are hungover. Kyle and I are feeling shitty because we got very little sleep. We're all still talking about Dick and his antics from last night. Kyle and I are still racking our brains about the window incident. You know, Anon and I heard something in the office room. Fucking shit you did, stop trying to fuck with us. Kyle gives up, figures no one cares and it might have been a raccoon or whatever. It's getting closer to night, and the drinking has started again. Only this time it's heavier. Everyone is drinking like a maniac, being loud, uncharacteristically loud. Kyle and I have only slept a few hours still. We can't stay asleep for some reason. The yelling and nonsense dies down and it gets quiet for a moment. We all of a sudden get very uncomfortable. Anxious. Then we hear it. A long humming noise, like a buzzing light only at a lower tone. We actually do think it's a light somewhere that might be burning out. We talk for a little and then we see that Kyle and Dick are fixed staring out the screen door. On the ridge by the tree line is a black mass. It's oblong and no one can see exactly what it is. We all start getting more nervous. How long has it been there? Is that a stump? Kyle and Dick say that they both just started staring outside, and it's been there for that long. We're getting panicky. I grab my gun again. Then it did something that made us all shit ourselves. It began swaying back and forth slowly. At the same pace. And the humming inside got louder. We back off into the office room and say it could seriously just be a tree or something. And we'll check it out again in the morning. No one really slept that night. Part 3 inbound. We're all super uncomfortable the next morning. We sleep more than the other night, so at least no one is tired. But no one is feeling all that chatty either. I refuse to have my gun leave my side. Same with my knife. Friend whose dad owns the cabin grabs his pop's crossbow he kept in the cabinet, a few arrows too. He and I joke about werewolves, ghosts, and shit, but we're both nervous. The rest of the group decides we have to go out and check the tree line, since we're armed. At this point everyone is kind of nervously holding onto some weapon. We say alright, it's broad daylight after all. Once we get to the spot we freeze our asses right there. Something just feels off. Like we're not supposed to be here. Then we see the ground. There's just a black patch of dirt right where the snow should be. And it's dry. There's no way something could dig up the frozen dirt underneath and have it be dried out in the morning. There is no mass, we now assumed it moved. You think it was an animal, Anon? I don't know, and we book it back to the cabin. The next night was our last, and convinced me that some things are out there that we can't explain. The entire day we're all fucking pissed off at each other and scared. No one knows what's happening and we're all easily agitated and angry. It's as if something wants us to be angry and irrational. We keep telling ourselves it's seriously nothing, but no one actually believes it. We watch movies until night. Between putting in another movie, I think it was Iron Man, that's not relevant but for some reason it sticks out, we hear a loud bang from the back of the house. Everyone shoots up and grabs something heavy. Crossbow guy pulls his weapon up, I have my navy at the ready. The humming starts again, and gradually begins to get louder, higher pitched, just more violent. Then it becomes a shriek. As corny as it sounds, it definitely wasn't human. And it keeps getting louder and louder. Until we hear it on all sides. Thumping is now bashing. It's on every wall and outside every window. We are all shitting ourselves. Then it stops. And we all stay in place. Final part. Enjoy Aussie Anon. While we're staring at every corner and frantically trying to find a way out, Dick begins to head towards the porch. Nigger, what are you doing? He moves like he doesn't have control of himself. As he approaches the screen, we see something outside. It was man-shaped with no eyes or hair. Standing on two legs, its skin was a mottled gray and looked wet to the touch, its body heaving inward and up as it drew breath. It had long arching fingers that came to a slender point. But the worst was its mouth. It looked like torn and burned skin that had healed. No one fucking moves. Dick opens the door and walks straight towards it. It wraps its thin fingers around him, pulls him down, and begins beating him and shrieking at the same time. Dick begins panicking, he's screaming in pain. No one else is moving, until Kyle grabs my gun and fires twice at the bipedal beast. It looks back and snarls, then grabs Dick and drags him as far as the tree line. I take my pistol back and Kyle and I follow. We find him at the tree line, knocked out. Kyle must have hit it. A trail leading away from Dick led into the trees. It was a thick black film that looked like oil, and it smelled like rotting shit and food. We didn't dare follow it. We left after that. No one talked to the other for the rest of the year. Dick started drinking more and doing drugs. No one knows where he even is right now.
I will assume you mean me. No, I didn't come back. I was too tired when I finally got back home, so I just went to bed. Anyway, here's the story. As I said, it's not really one of those, too spooky for me, paranormal stories. The day before yesterday I was out walking alone in Innawoods in northern Scandinavia. I suddenly realized that the ravens are making a hell of a racket fighting over something. I figure it's probably a cadaver. Since I know the landowner, I figured I should investigate and inform him if I find anything odd. So I start walking over to the approximate location of the suspected cadaver, and sure enough I see something lying on the ice of a frozen creek a bit further ahead. I start noticing puddles of blood around the cadaver in the snow, along with tracks that indicate a short but brutal struggle. I take a look at the cadaver and see it's a small roe deer. The odd thing is that it's in immaculate shape with the exception of the neck, which has been eaten. Nothing else on the cadaver shows any signs of injury, which is very odd because whatever killed this deer, it wasn't wolves or an eagle. So I kneel down next to the cadaver to have a closer look. I reach out to move its neck to get a better look at the bite marks. And that's when I realized it. It's still fucking warm. And not just lukewarm, it's fully body temperature warm. Now it's pretty cold out, about -13°C with a strong wind chill, so it would only have taken a short while for the cadaver to start freezing, but even the blood on the ice was still liquid. Whatever killed this thing is still around here somewhere. At this point I get really paranoid and start looking around, but I don't see anything. So I take a closer look at the bite marks on the neck. The large blood vessels and the trachea have been bitten off very cleanly. It looks like something cut them with sharp scissors. So whatever killed this deer has very sharp scissor-like teeth made for cutting through flesh efficiently. I look for tracks in the surrounding area, but I can't find any that make sense. The largest paw prints I find nearby are only slightly larger than fox prints, and it certainly was not a fox that killed this deer. I don't feel like staying any longer, so I snap a few photos and GTFO. On the way back I call the landowner and tell him about it. He walked out there about 45 minutes later, but he never found the carcass. He found where it had been, and then he drag marks, 3 fucking kilometer long drag marks that lead out and over a frozen lake he didn't want to cross. I asked him if he weighed any tracks, but he didn't see any either. Now this is really freaking me out. The only natural thing I could kill like that is an Arctic lynx, but they are quite large and leave paw prints much larger than anything I could find, and they don't drag dead deer for 3 fucking kilometers in less than an hour. Here's some blood stains and shit. Looks like the deer was laying dead on the ice for a while since it has melted the snow in the ice. Then there are some drag marks. My guess is that the creature had just killed the deer and eaten a bit of it, then it started dragging it off, but it only got a few meters before I came trundling conspicuously through the woods and chased it off. Also, this creature must be very light, since it doesn't leave tracks, and it could easily walk around an ice that was far too weak to bear me. Here's a close-up on the neck.
I don't browse/X/ often, but I have some good stories to share with you. Tons of creepy stuff happens in the woods I live nearby. Story 1. B8. Exploring the woods alone with my dog one morning. Don't expect anybody to be back there, so dog is off leash and running around, sniffing, whatever dogs do. I'm just following trails set by other animals. Using a stick to clear spider webs in my way/suspicious looking plants, stuff like that. A creepy feeling gnaws at me the deeper I go into the woods. Hear what faintly sounds like a human screaming in the distance. Dog perks up and looks at where the scream came from too. It's coming from deep in the woods. Stand there unsure what to do. Feeling overly confident, I decide to follow where the scream came from. First time I'm in the woods alone 100. Dog just went back to sniffing and running around. After what feels like half an hour, I come across stuff that humans obviously left. A couch sitting in middle of nowhere. Broken bike hanging in a tree. Lots of beer bottles hanging around. Looks like some teen hideaway. Carefully walk around the beer bottles and avoid all of the crud laying around. After I walk a decent distance past it, I hear a scream behind me, where I came from. Realize dog has been gone for a while. Too scared to call my dog's name to draw attention to me, so I just stand there awkwardly looking for any signs of anything, kind of crouch down and walk back. Still bright daylight, so I should be able to see anything off in the distance. 2 minutes later I hear heavy breathing. It's getting closer, and fast. Start freaking the fuck out, look around, swinging my stick like a maniac. Suddenly dog jogs out of bush, then past me. Bloodly murder, thought some madman was about to kill me. Scold the dog silently. Realize dog shouldn't be going ahead of me, runs to grab dog's collar and put leash on. Continue my ninja walk towards where I thought the scream came from. Didn't see or hear anything after what feels like an hour and a half of searching. Walked back home, didn't tell my parents what I heard, cause they'd just freak out and not let me back in. Story 2. Maybe a year after last incident, so 9ish at the time. Riding bike in the woods with my friend, morning again. Friend is easily scared, thanks there's snakes around every corner, poisonous spiders that'll hunt him down alive, etc. I calm him down and tell him I walked those trails 1,000 times, probably actually only 10 times. Find some trail that I never followed before. Now the creepy feeling starting to build up on the back of my neck. Ignore it, keep going. I want to see where this trail goes. Friend complains it's creepy, trees, plants are all dead, etc. Tell him it's fucking fall, of course the trees are going to have no leaves and look dead. Actually fall only began, trees are only turning orange/red and most plants still have leaves. I'm getting scared myself, but nothing's happened yet and I wanna explore this new trail. Come across a cabin in the middle of a field of grass. Friend doesn't want to approach it, of course. Ignore him and walk boldly ahead. Actually knocked on the door. Nobody answers. I push open the door and I look back. Friend is gone. Hear a scream coming from the cabin. Run the fuck away. Look back, cabin door closed while I was looking. Didn't find my friend until next day at school. Story 3. This time it took place in night. I walk in the woods all the time with my dad, he loves nature. He wants to go again tonight. Both of us bring a flashlight and my dog. Dad is holding the leash instead of letting dog run around cause he doesn't want to lose the dog and have to look for it in the night. He finds the teen hangout spot with the couch and the bike hanging in the tree. Just keeps walking past it casually. Dog is obviously freaking out though. Whining, trying to pull Dad away. Dad and I keep looking around for whatever it could be that's freaking out the dog. Dog start barking, we smack the dog to quiet it. Now I can smell wood burning. Ask Dad if he smells it too. He nods, but we don't see any fire. Figure maybe someone's smoking or something, but it doesn't smell like that. Whatever, we keep walking cause no fame. Shine my flashlight around and see 2 glints appear midair off in the distance. Moved my flashlight back, it disappeared, but the bush around it is moving. Pull my dad's arms and whisper what I saw. He shines his flashlight at where I was looking. Doesn't see anything. Dog still refuses to calm down. Half an hour later we hear what sounds like wolves/coyotes howling. Wolves/coyotes are rare around here, but they do exist here. It's enough for my dad, we walk back home. Dog starts pulling ahead with all of his might. Slips out of Dad's hand, Dad, and I scream for his name. Too late, he disappeared off in the darkness. We chase after it, calling its name. Look back behind me. I can see a dark shape disappear behind some tree in the moonlight. Look forward and keep running. Story 4. By the way, this took place in early 90s, sorry I didn't have a camera back then. Didn't go in the woods for a while, sat around and played video games, ate, watched TV, typical Amerifat stuff. Decide to go again one day, probably 11 at the time. Remembered that cabin in the woods, I ask my friend, different friend, if he wants to check it out too. He brings his dog and I bring mine. Walking to where I think the cabin is. It's after school but we still have many hours of daylight left. We're just chatting away while our dogs chase and play with each other, run around sniffing, etc. Dogs disappear after a few minutes. We call their names and they come back but then they jog away again, same direction. We follow, find a dead deer with an enormous gut cause of all of the maggots and juices in it, head is missing though. Poke it with stick, typical stuff kids do when they encounter death. Ignore and keep walking. Half an hour later we find another dead one. Again the head is missing. Joke with my friend that deer skulls are used for dark magic. Finally we find the cabin. We're staying off in the distance, but in clearing and in clear view of cabin, debating if we should go check it out or not. After a few minutes see a window curtain move and a shape looking back at us. Friend sees it too. Definitely has a hairy as fuck mask, actually looks like deer's head. I didn't make the connection until a year later, we were stupid as fuck then, on or something, doesn't look fully human. We stand there not knowing what to do. Figure in cabin moves the curtain back and disappears. 2 minutes later another curtain opens, this time it's upstairs. Same figure, it stares at us. We're getting nervous about what it's planning on doing, but we're too curious to leave. So we just stand there looking at each other for what feels like 10 minutes. Curtain closes and figure disappears again. Now we're getting scared, wondering what it'll do next. We walk back in the woods and hide behind trees while watching the cabin. The cabin door opens. Same figure, with hairy mask. Steps out on the pouch, looking for us. Starts walking towards us. Oh shit, we Usain Bolt for it back home. Later friend tells us we gotta go back there again. I refuse to go back there without my dad. Story 5. A year later dad still remembers his promise. Makes the preparation to spend a week in the cabin, uses vacation time, everything, he's a determined fucker. Friend, his dad, and the 2 dogs are coming along too. We actually see the figure upstairs as we're walking towards it. We get to the cabin just before dark and knock on the door. Of course we're ignored. Body slam time, breaks open with less effort than last time. We get in, search the whole place, of course nobody's here. Set up camp, water, food, books, guns etc. We all slept together in the living room for protection. Dad decides him and friend's dad will take turns staying up. We didn't need to bring a lamp and oil, already was here, we light it and use it throughout the night. We told each other ghost stories and shit like that late into the night. Dog started barking in middle of night. Wake up to find lamp burnt out. In the moonlight I could see a figure outside looking in from the window. Freak the fuck out, figure disappears under the window behind the wall. Both dads jolts awake and grabs his gun. Nobody else saw the figure, but this time we're more careful, and all of us shared the watch duty this time. Nothing happened for the rest of the night, but holy shit I was still freaking out that it got so close without alerting us. Next day we cooked our food and ate breakfast. Just pretty much a normal camping experience for rest of the day. We stuck together close though. Part 2. Friend and I went exploring in the woods with my dog. I was entrusted with a gun. Dad and friend's dad kept the other dog. In the hindsight it was a stupid idea to let us back in the woods like that. If you fear for your child's safety so much that you have to give him a gun, just don't let him go. So we're walking around following trails, just having fun. Dog is kept on the leash though, because in the back of the minds we are both terrified. Maybe some 20 minutes after exploring we find another dead deer without a head. Man, this is getting old, I recall my friend saying. For me it was just more evidence that it's still around. We find some stream and throw rocks into it. I set down the gun against a tree and friend let go of the dog to let it run around as we relax and chat about girls. Eventually we can't ignore the creepy feeling anymore. I get my gun and we call the dog over. It doesn't come back. We nervously walk back to the cabin still calling for the dog the whole time. Dad and friend's dad was sitting around in living room with dog resting in between. When we get back dad asked if we found anything interesting. No, but now the dog went missing. He just froze for a moment, I don't think he even breathed. Calmly got up and everybody went looking for my dog. Never came back, we kept looking around until just before dark. We went back in the cabin only to find everything thrashed, all of the water gone, all of the gas was gone, all of the food and bullet was thrown around outside of the cabin and stomped into the dirt, the guns themselves were emptied of bullets, our flashlights were destroyed. Bullets are useless, we don't have any food or water or any light. Fuck. We still had a handful of bullets, one gun, and one flashlight that we bought with us when we went looking for the dog. We decide to spend the night in the cabin instead of walking through the woods in the dark with barely any protection. Decide to huddle together again in the living room. This time 2 out of 4 people are on watch duty at all time. Nobody slept well that night, so really all 4 of us were awake half of the time. Whenever someone had to use the bathroom, we took the dog and the flashlight with us. Late in the night we could hear footsteps in the basement. Dog perked up its ears and I woke up my friend. Dad grabbed his gun and everyone just listened. Sounds like footsteps just walking around. This continues for maybe an hour before Dad decides to go check it out. None of us want him to go alone. We all huddle around him as he holds the gun and slowly opens the door leading downstairs. Everybody get on the floor. Walks the dinosaur. Just kidding, perfect time for that though. By the time the door creaks open, the footsteps have stopped. Dad actually stands at top of the stairs for what feels like a minute before he took another step. He points down the gun, aiming just in case anything wants to jump. Part 4. All of us step down after him and reach the bottom of the stairs, flashlight searching the whole room. Basement is pretty empty. We checked everything, it's just not there. Impossible for it to pass us on the stairs. Suddenly we hear footsteps upstairs. What the actual fuck? How does it keep disappearing and appearing like that? Dad runs upstairs in rage. We all follow after him, trying to stop him. We see the figure already outside, running away into the woods. Dad takes shots at it, then tries to chase after it once the bullets are gone. That ain't happening. JPG. Friend's dad, friend, and I all restrain my dad. Dad finally calms down half an hour later. Everyone stayed awake the rest of the night. When the sun was high enough, we all headed back home without further incidents. The next day Dad and I came back to set the cabin on fire so it had no place to live. Moved away a year later. Friend didn't. Still have more to tell. Part 5/5. 3 years later I called my friend to get in touch because we haven't talked to each other in so long. Wasn't long before we started talking about our experience. Friend said he went back a few months after we moved away, said the cabin was still burnt to the ground, but something is weird about the cabin. He hesitated to go further. Of course I had to ask what was weird about it. Friend tried to avoid my questions, but I persisted. When he went back, the rubble from the cabin had been rearranged. It now formed a perfect circle of charred pieces around the perimeter of where the cabin stood. Nothing inside this circle except for one solitary thing. Sitting in the middle of the circle was a headless, almost completely decomposed body of an animal. Another deer? I asked my friend. No, he said. Your dog.
Posted this recently, sorry if repost for some of you. This just happened a couple months ago. Starting internship this summer. Job is in Massachusetts, I'm from Georgia. Drive is around 18 hours, decide to split it into 2 days. Looking for place to stay online. Come across a camping place in Virginia. Mostly cabins, too expensive for me. They offer one affordable option. It's an old camper in the woods. Pictures show it to be in okay condition. Pics of surrounding area look nice. Woods, hiking trails, lake. Cheaper than hotel. Seems like a nice relaxing way to start the summer before work all the time. Book it. Fast forward to day of trip. Driving along, all is going well. On interstate going around 75 miles per hour. About an hour out from campsite. Tell owners I'll be there soon. Freaking deer comes out of nowhere. Smash it. Lucky, it hits more on the side of the car, not windshield. Car is all messed up looking, but still drives. Tell owners I'll be late. Deal with insurance stuff. Still able to drive, they tell me to get to Ma for inspection. Get back on the road. Total setback like an hour. Finally arrive. Meet owners so they can show me the way. Winding uphill on dirt road. It had stormed earlier so the road was all mud. Tires spun a few times, but I was making it up. See the campsite ahead. Owner stops as soon as road levels a little bit. Tells me ahead is much too muddy, go back a little. There is a flat parking space shaped spot between some trees. Leave the car there and hike up a quarter mile to campsite. Owner shows me the camper. It's old and muddy and kind of gross. They say no fires because this is on a national park, so I have to purchase firewood from them. Owner leaves. It's already getting dark. No time to explore and enjoy the scenery. Sorry, this is a all boring part. No time to explore and enjoy the scenery. Plus it's a muddy mess. I make a tiny fire anyway to make dinner. Pretty much just go inside, make some phone calls, go to sleep. Indoors is somewhat comfortable. Bed is clean, has heating, storms made it cold. Starting to fall asleep, get uneasy feeling. Thinking about the woods and stuff I've read here. Put pocket knife on shelf next to bed. A bit later, hear crunching of leaves. Immediately think of skinwalkers, rake, wendigo, all that. Then think of squirrels, deer, normal stuff. Feeling better. Hear it getting closer. Decide to look. Peek through tiny window above bed. Heart stops for a moment. Looks like human figure. Tall, hunched back silhouette. Super dark because clouds, so I can't get a clear look. I can't make out any colors, but it's a slim figure. Seems to lack business of clothing or fur. Reassured but not really that the door locks. Hold pocket knife tightly. It wanders through the campsite area, pauses at the fire pit. It walks kind of weird. Like every step is deliberate, and the whole body swings with its feet. I don't look away. Eventually moves off around the front of the camper. Hear crunching fade away. Heart beating so fast. Think about just leaving. Remember that my car is kind of far through deep mud and I will probably just slide down the mountain into a tree. After a while of hearing nothing but still not being able to sleep, I put on a movie on my lappy. Fall asleep at some point. Next morning it's the first thing I think of. Nervously go to the door. Look around campsite. See weirdish footprints in the deep mud. Look mostly like human footprints, but like a person walking tiptoe. Head back inside to get stuff. Now I notice that the footprints come from the other direction right to the door of the camper. See trail of footprints. From door to the back of the trailer. Where the bed is. Footprints are rotated to face the camper. Right. Outside. The window. Picture that unknown thing watching me sleep. Immediately grab my stuff. Leave. Don't even tell owners I'm leaving. Make it down the mountain somehow and continue on my way north. Pics not related. What do you think?
Hey, /x/, I've got something that's happened to me recently that I wanted to share. I work for a larger farm in the northeastern US. My parents own a small farm, so I know firsthand how different things can be on both. For example, if your big farm has enough workers, you can get sick days, which is what I had to take 3 days ago. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. It was how I think I got sick that is more interesting. I'm in charge of rounding up the pastured animals in the A group for milking in the mornings and evenings. It was really nice out, even for 5 in the morning, and the sun was just rising. Most cows sleep together out in the open. Some fuckers go hiding in the forest, where it's hard to take my four-wheeler, which is what I saw a group of them doing. So, it was by foot and into the underbrush I went. And that was where things went wrong. I had dismounted right where I could see the cows, and only had to make a few turns and dips in deer paths to get to the lazy fuckers. I get to the group of 4, and rouse them, and chase them out of the woods. One of them is a big old girl who bullies people because she's bigger and knows she's better than you, so she took a swing with her head at me a few times. Cue my calling her an ugly old bitch, and she's lucky she was pregnant or else I would sell her personally. She completely ignores me and ambles off with the rest of her little posse to the larger stream of animals heading down through the pasture. At this moment, I'm not too worried about heading out after them since I'm one of 5 people that herds the animals. I was caught on a patch of brambles, and trying to get free when this eerie, piercing squeal comes up from further in the forest. Just thinking about it gives me the chills. It sounded kind of like a deer screaming, but it was way too loud. I was standing there, caught in a thorn patch, waiting for it to happen again when I heard this strange shuffling to my right. I really don't know what it was. It looked vaguely like a naked human, arms, legs, torso, but they were all way too long and thin. Its arms and legs all bowed out. It was walking towards me, backwards, with these really horribly jerky movements. It seemed to try to be looking at me over its shoulder, and all I could see were these bulbous yellow eyes. And teeth, these awful, needle-like teeth. Nope.jpg. Fuck the brambles, fuck everything. I scramble the hell out, proceeding to shred my flesh and clothes in the process. I hear this massive crashing, but at that point was too fucking terrified to look to see if it was the abomination or not. My 4-wheeler was still there and running, by some miracle, but was facing the direction of the woods, which I wasn't sure I had done. I jumped on, which made me face the woods again. The thing was nowhere in sight, but I didn't stop to really examine the brush line. I turned around in a tight circle, and got the fuck out of there. When I finally got down into the main pasture, the tail end of the line was heading into the barn, and 3 of the other herders were at the bottom, chatting. They all looked up when they saw me driving up. One of them raised his arms in a "what the hell happened" gesture, but I didn't give him time to speak before I had jumped off and was talking to them. I told them everything that had happened and what I'd seen, not even stopping to think they might think I was crazy. They all looked a little uncomfortable, and not just a little scared, but because of how scared I was, they didn't think I was lying. And probably how I kept looking over my shoulder to see if the thing had finally made its way out of the woods or not. One of the guys called the herdsman, the guy that's in charge of the cows, and told him there was a situation in the A group. Nothing terribly specific, just I'd seen an unsub in the woods, and it looked more dangerous to people than cows. I got reassigned to milking to finish my shift, so I didn't have to go back out, and everyone considered that to be the end of that. Except it wasn't. As I was helping prep for milking, I started feeling shaky, and chilly. I figured I was just coming down from an adrenaline high, but as milking progressed, this was clearly not the case. Several of the milkers commented on how pale I was, and were alarmed at the scratches on my arms and face. It looked like an animal had attacked me. I told them I had only got caught in some thorns before one of them took a picture of me with her phone and showed me what I looked like. It really did look like an animal had attacked me. I'm talking claw marks, on my neck, on my arms. I even had a black eye I had no idea I'd even had. Needless to say, this freaked me out pretty badly, to the point where one of the milkers called the herdsman, and told me to go to the office so I could check out and go home. Nobody really wanted me to be on my own, so one of the milkers walked me over from the milking parlor to the office, which was like 50 feet away, but I was still glad for the company. Being outside made me start looking for the thing again. The herdsman was in the office, along with my boyfriend, who's the herdsman's nephew. The herdsman is a co-owner of the farm, so he can basically make executive decisions about the shit that goes on, and they'd already decided that my boyfriend would take me home. At this point, I didn't want to be alone a lot more than I wanted to rest though, so there was some deliberation. And my condition was going rapidly downhill. I was so gone with fever at that point that I couldn't really understand what anyone was saying. All I could hear was this long, drawn-out scraping, like something big was rubbing up against the side of the office. I cut into the discussion, asking if a cow was loose, because I thought I could hear one outside. This got me a funny look, but my boyfriend went to one of the windows to look outside. Apparently there was something out there, but it was human rather than animal, and they were standing in the gravel driveway. My boyfriend had said hello and can I help you to the person, and had turned to go to the door so he could speak more normally to the person. The conversation went something like, "What can I do for you?" Silence. "Is there anything we can help you with?" Silence. "Alright, if you need anything, you let us know." Silence. He and the herdsman had another short deliberation about who the fuck was outside and why they were so weird. The herdsman went to talk to the guy, and my boyfriend turned back to me to get up out of the office's couch so I could go home. Well, he's gone. Both my boyfriend and I were WTFing. How could the guy be just gone? My boyfriend decided I would ride in a tractor with him for the next 7 hours instead of go home, which I heartily endorsed. His other option was that I go to the doctors, which we fought about and I eventually won. I really didn't want to be alone, and possibly run up against the guy. I hadn't taken into consideration that the fields my boyfriend was working in were surrounded by woods, however. I spent most of the entire time staring at them, waiting for something to come out. It was only around 8:30, when my boyfriend finally decided he was done with work and parking, that I did see something. Way off on the other side of the field he'd been working, I saw something standing between the trees. It was definitely a person, but they just kept standing there, motionless. It felt like they were staring at me, just like I was staring at them. I went home and had to be taken to the doctor in the middle of the night. My fever was too high, and I wasn't getting better. That was 5 days ago. I'm feeling marginally better now, but I'm still sick and exhausted. Not a dude, but whatever, IDC. LOL, worst fucking squirrel ever. But no, sadly, I haven't even worked up enough courage to look out the fucking window this morning to check the treeline to see if the fucker is there. Every now and again, I'll think I see someone standing in the trees or something. Since I saw whatever the fuck I saw, some weird shit has happened on the farm. The office came up trashed one morning, like a wild animal had gone through it. Nothing valuable was taken, and the foodstuffs in it was strewn around. Also, there were a few bloody smears in high places that looked like handprints, which is probably what persuaded the owners to call the police. Some of the workers have been complaining about seeing a stranger hanging around the farm, but no two people agree on what he looks like. Some people who live close to the farm have even said they've seen the stranger following them home, but was easily frightened away with the threat of bodily harm. One of the guys has said he thought he saw an animal out on his porch the other night. He said he saw its eyes reflecting in the field, and decided he wouldn't bother it until it got up to the door. Which was when he opened the door and greeted said animal with a face full of shotgun. He's probably 60 or so, and a ballsy motherfucker. He said it looked like a coy dog, except bigger than any he's ever seen. No one's reported seeing the thing I saw initially. But then, who would, really?
Be me. Camping Innawoods with my longtime best friend for a week. He's got around 50 acres that spills into straight forest. Just the basics, tinned food, water, that kind of shit. Sleeping in the bed of my truck because poorfig, no money for tent or camper. First day goes well enough, talked the day away while we fished. Head to bed, cap truck off in case rain. Sleep like a little baby bitch. Wake up around 7 or 8, debate getting a fire going to cook breakfast. Friend tells me he's gonna start prepping food, and I need to get firewood. Walk off into woods with shitty little Coleman's hatchet. Start breaking down little dead trees, get an armful of wood before I head back. Super uneasy feeling, like when you fuck up and you know it. Like someone took everything out of my stomach and replaced it with primal fear. Sketched out, but think nothing of it. Head back to camp with wood and spooks. Cook breakfast, consisted of warmed up canned ravioli. Not buying ice and a cooler so I can eat fucking eggs in the woods. Eat our fill, pack up leftovers and head hiking. Made sure to pack stuff back into truck and lock it. Hike for about an hour, stop in a clearing and enjoy the view. Nothing but long grass in the middle and trees all around us. Brokeback Mountain. GIF. Enjoy the air, head back into the woods. Hiking back, food sitting like a fucking brick in stomach. Walk for what feels like hours. Oh shit, what time is it? Check watch, only around 2 or so. Not bad, left at 11. Wait, shouldn't we be at camp? And why does nothing look familiar? Panic mode engaged. Freak out to friend, gonna die in the woods. He says we're fine, camp shouldn't be too far. Walk for maybe 15, 20 minutes more. Oh shit, there it is. No problems here. Unlock truck, turn on radio to cool nerves. Not too far out, shitty signal but enough to get something. Relax for a couple hour talking about love life and shit. No girl for my own, but whatevs. Don't want ravioli again, go fishing for dinner. Down at pond from yesterday trying to catch something worth eating. Nothing so far, the entire pond seems dead still. Whatever, it's the evening, lots of critters to disturb the water. Managed to catch 2 or 3 little fish, not sure what type but no bigger than hand. How do else skin a fish? Webm. Bring back to camp, enjoying how quiet it is out. Get back and start skinning and deboning fish. Feel uneasy, but think nothing of it. Chomping down on fish, can't stop thinking about how still pond was. Friend breaks the silence. Shit man, you were gone for a while. Not a lot of luck today? Nah, swear to God it was like there were no fucking fish in there today, spooky as fuck. The entire forest seemed kinda quiet today. Sit and ponder for a bit. Did I hear any birds on the way back? No, I don't think I did. Was there any wind at all? Any breeze? Shit, I don't think there was that either. Not liking this one bit. Don't wanna pussy out on friend by calling it quits this early. Whatever, I'm just tired. Fix mattress in the bed of my truck for the night. No homo. Make a little fire and start burning shit to pass the time. Just doesn't feel right. Ask friend if he's ever gone this far back here. Yeah, I used to come back here with my dad all the time. Little backstory here, friend's parents died about a year ago, super fucking loaded. Left house to him, money to other family. Ask if he had any spooks back this far. Says nothing too bad, the worst was this hermit that lived about 2 or 3 miles out past the property line. He didn't bother them, they didn't bother him. Shrug it off, and head to bed. Sorry this is taking so long, typing on mobile. Wake up around 2 or 3. Shivering like a motherfucker, it's bad. Lay under the blanket for a bit. Decide fuck it, I'm gonna walk around to try and wear myself out and fall back asleep. Climb out of bed, careful not to wake friend. Not a dumbass so I make sure to keep tent in view. Walking in place, enjoying the stars and crickets. Hear something off in the distance. My mind playing tricks on me? Strain my ears to listen better. Crickets. 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 Silence. Ungodly moaning / muffled screaming. Shit my ass as I rush to wake up friend. Nigga get the fuck up. Immediately tell him to be quiet and listen. He hears it too, can't be too far off with how muffled it sounds. Imagine covering your mouth with a pillow and screaming into it. Like pure screams, enough to crack your voice. Now play that far off into the woods, just barely loud enough to hear. Stomach is a swirling mess of emotions and shit, not sure what to do. Friend tells me they've got lots of coyotes back here, maybe one of them got a hold of a fox and killed it. Yeah, maybe. Sounds vaguely sentient though, like it's pleading. Lay in bed listening to the screams for what feels like forever, before finally passing out. Wake up next morning exhausted. Mind cloudy, can't think to save my life. Go take a piss out in the woods. Crunching leaves. MP3. Hairs on back if neck stand up, fight or flight activating. It's my friend getting sticks to make another fire. Well, what happened to the firewood from before? Up and left, must have burned through it all. Wait shit, I get cell reception out here. Remember friend telling me about fox screams last night? Google, fox scream human. Videos of vixen screams. Watch then. They sound close, but something about it seems too animal. Like it didn't have that fear behind it. Chalk it up to being tired. The rest of the day was the usual stuff: start fire, cook food, hike a bit, swim in pond some, make bed for night. Laying in bed, refusing to fall asleep for fear of getting fucking gutted by skinwalkers or some shit. Hear the crickets again, something about it is just so calming to me. About to fall asleep when I hear it. Muffled screams like before, only clearer. Swear on my life I can hear something behind it. Can only make out the stronger parts of the word. Like a drawn-out noise, or something. Eyes are welling up with tears. I don't wanna die, man. Sit in bed until sun comes up. Decide fuck it, we got today and tomorrow and we're gone. I want to know what this noise is. Tell friend I want to head out back towards the opening we found. Seems uneasy about it, but agrees. Walking out, no talking between the two of us. Lifelong friends, this shit doesn't happen often. Always something to talk about. Around halfway their friend falls and twists ankle pretty bad. God fuck it, why now? Help him back to the truck and set him in passenger seat. Wait with him to make sure he's okay. Gradually gets more and more pasty. Cold skin, like a fever feeling. Fuck nigga, that's no good. Sit with him and talk, I want my bro to be okay. No good food to comfort, just ravioli and potted meat. Lap of luxury. Talk over our options. He can barely walk, so it wouldn't be easy getting him from A to B. And I really want to check out that noise from earlier. Fuck man, what do? Fuck it, I have this unexplainable pull towards this. Tell him I'll be right back, and book it out. Sprinting through forest, I need to know what this is. Get to clearing in maybe half hour, so not too bad considering the distance from camp. Again, no birds, no ambient noise. Just pure, piercing silence. Don't feel safe in the slightest, but I want answers. Cross cleaning into other section of woods. Much denser, light peeks through but in very small spurts. Kinda like a basement in the evening, seeable but dark. Walking super carefully, I don't fuck with no spirits. See a little cairn about 30 feet out, go check it out. Blue rags, long stringy black hair, and an ungodly smell. Pull rags out, they're made of denim. Okay, fuck this shit. Tree niggas got burial mounds covered in tattered clothes and hair. Nope the fuck out. Running through clearing, stop to catch breath. Now to get a scale of things, the clearing was maybe a football field and a half, and I am not a runner. Winded and gasping, all of a sudden hear that scream as clear as day. Whip head around. Tall, gaunt woman-like figure standing in tree line. Freeze up, this is how it ends. Feel intense wave of calm wash over me, I'm safe here. I want to go to her, learn who she is. Very beautiful, and seemingly angelic in nature. All but forget about sick and dying bro. Fuck, I need to get back. Turn around to run and I hear it. Branches snapping, grass rustling. Oh sweet dick, I'm gonna die here. Run faster than a fucking Olympian athlete. Legs taking me Mach 7, down through my trail. Entire time nothing but sobbing and moaning from behind me. Gradually slows down, like I got a tether and kept going. Stop to catch my breath about 5 minutes from camp. Back to a tree, don't want to ghost bitches sneaking up on me. Gasping and panting. Feel hand on shoulder. It's bro. Freak out, start talking a million miles a minute. See this ungodly fear in his eyes, he says nothing to me. Walk back to camp, scared shitless. Bro won't say anything to me as we pack up. Car drive home, spend the night at my place cause he says he wants time away from his home. Up until maybe 2 talking each other down. All of a sudden bursts into hysterics. Blabbering fool, sounds like a toddler learning to speak. Calm him down, ask him what the fuck he's doing. Says he got spooked after the second night of screaming, he had heard it too. Set his phone to record audio during our sleep. Schemed through it in the hour I was gone. Says he got through about 4 hours of cherry-picked sound when he saw something out of the corner of his eye. Super fast blur, long arms, skinny body, dark hair. Said he heard some kind of unholy laughter as it left, like it was playing a game. Ran in my direction. He couldn't do anything, twisted ankle and sickness. Kept listening to audio. Around what would be 5 a.m. hears rustling in recording, uneven gait, like step 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 step. Giggling, almost like a child. Stops after a while. Rattling and the sound of my truck bed opening. Rusting shortly afterwards, and what sounds like cooing. Like a mother soothing a child. Zipper unzipping. Cloth tearing. Bed latching. Sprinting. Check back. Missing a pair of jeans. Wait just a fuck. Cairn in the forest. Fucking clothes. Inexplicable pull. Oh god. Whatever that thing was made a fucking burial site for me. Why? Why? Fucking why? Freak out, lock doors, close blinds, sit in bedroom with friend. Sit there until morning, and drive back to house. Entire place is torn up, glass shattered, furniture torn, doors scratched. It was looking for us here. Not enough money in the world would get friend to stay here, and not enough to get me to let him pack what little he can salvage and bring him back to my house. This was maybe a month ago. Dude's been staying here while we try to figure out what to do. May just tear the place down and sell the land, no way we're going to try and fix it up to sell it. Still have no clue what that woman was, but I know for a fact it wasn't anything I want to remember. I'll try to answer any questions as best I can. This whole story. You better thank fuck every goddamn day you still breathe. You saw that Waifish Woman by the cairn. Waifish Woman made eye contact with you. You felt calm, at ease, compelled to approach her, to approach the gravesite. But your friend, who twisted his ankle minutes ago, was alone in the truck. That memory, that thought, was enough to distract you, just enough to snap out of it. Once you turned away, the fear came back and you were pursued. The moment your friend lost his footing and twisted his shit up, that was the fork in the path of your fate that led to you not becoming some creature's fucked up torture doll and never leaving those woods again. This was the big tip-off. Step step step. Giggling. Stops. Rattling and truck bed opening. Rustling and what sounds like cooing. Like a mother soothing a child. Zipper unzipping. Cloth tearing. Bed latching. Sprinting. Basically. Waifish Woman creeping up to your truck at night, giggling. Opens up the bed, where you and your friend are sleeping. Rustling, starts sifting through your stuff. Cooing you woke up or were going to wake up, and she did it, the thing where she makes you calm and at ease, and you fell back asleep. You almost woke up to the sight of that thing hunched over in your truck bed with you, looking at you. In fact, you fucking might have done just that, but the relaxing thing made you go back to sleep and forget it. It took your pants because they seemed valuable to you and smelled a lot like you. It knew you were curious. It knew you'd look for them. It led you to the grave it made for you. It was waiting for you there. It started to draw you in by doing the relaxing thing again, and you almost walked right into your own grave. It didn't plan on your friend getting fucked up. It didn't plan on you remembering him and turning around. It was going to take you, and then take your friend. You fucking got away by a fucking hair.